Hello and welcome to another episode of Fresh Waves. Today we are going to be speaking about laughing yoga with Cathy Nesbitt. This is going to be a fun show, and please feel free to laugh along with us because we will be laughing. That's what the show's about. Hi, Cathy.
Hello, Brenda. I'm excited.
Your laugh is so infectious. Every time you laugh, I laugh.
That's good.
I guess it is. So tell us about laughing yoga. I mean, is it just doing yoga poses and laughing your guts out, or is there a little more to it than that?
That's perfect. Thank you. I actually say it's not about fancy pants or poses. It's intentional laughter exercises designed to make us feel good, and so we do. So if I could just go back to the beginning of laughter yoga, not all the way back to the beginning of yoga because that's too long ago. Laughter yoga started in 1995 by a medical doctor, Dr. Madan Kataria. He's a medical doctor from India, and he was dispensing antidepressants and kind of getting sad himself. He was writing an article on laughter for a medical journal, and as he was researching, he came across all this research about laughter is the best medicine, and we've all heard that. I mean, I think we've heard it our whole life. Laughter is the best medicine. Mm-hmm. So he said, well, if laughter is the best medicine, why don't we just laugh? And he could only find 5 people, which I find that funny. 5 people in India only that were willing to go and join him at a park and laugh. So it started with 5, and they went to a park and told jokes. And the group gathered. Every day more people joined because it was a busy park they were in, and people were curious. We're primed for laughter. When we hear laughter, we automatically perk up, and we're like, oh, what's that? Unless we're in a bad state, we won't talk about that. But if you're in a bad state where you're like not feeling good, you might think, oh, are they laughing at me? You might take it a different way, but we will stay on the positive side. So after a couple of weeks, the jokes started getting, off color, and they were like, the jokes are about somebody. So he was like, okay, come back tomorrow. I'm going to come up with a solution. So he's like, why don't we just do games, like just play? So now there are 40 foundational exercises, which you can do, and it's just like little games to inspire the laughter. So there's clapping and chanting and deep diaphragmatic breathing. Laughter is high vibe energy. So a laughter session is either, half an hour, depending on the time frame that people have available. And it starts with gentle warm-up, some deep breathing, stretching, and then you do some laughter exercises where you're kind of laughing full on, if possible, although even just smiling changes your mood and changes your state. And then at the end of the laughter class, you have a beautiful dynamic laughter meditation.
Wow, it sounds so simple.
It's so simple. It's so simple, and we're not taught how simple it is. Like, laughter was suppressed in our society because you can't control people when they're laughing, their heads off. Right? When we're all laughing, we lose ourselves. We don't even have thoughts when we're laughing. Isn't that fun? Like, we're just like totally present. So when we're, laughter is so important at this time because we're in a stressful global pandemic. We don't know what's happening. And when we're fearful, we're stressed, we're secreting cortisol. We can't think because our brain is not getting oxygenated. We're breathing like, panting puppies.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of the deep belly laughs, like we're all tight, we're stressed, maybe our shoulders are up to our ears, and we're, afraid of our neighbor. Right? And so laughter is not laughing at the situation. We are actually laughing because of the situation, which then oxygenates our beautiful brain. Let me give you a little bit of science behind why we laugh.
Sure.
Laughter is the best medicine. We can live without food or water for a few days. We might be grumpy and uncomfortable, but we could do it. We can only live without oxygen for a few minutes. So laughter forces us. You can't just laugh out, ha, 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 ha. You have to go, so that you can continue ha-haing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? So it kind of just forces you to do the deep diaphragmatic breathing, which is beautiful. So our brain requires 25% more oxygen than the rest of our body as an operating principle, right? It's a machine, the answering machine. So when we're stressed, we're not breathing properly. So when we're not breathing properly, our brain's not getting any oxygen. It can't come up with solution. And I'll give you an example. Have you ever lost your keys, phone, glasses?
Oh, yeah.
Right? You're
multiple
around,
times
you're
a
like,
day.
Okay, so here's a trick. Here's a tip for you. Next time you're flopping around, right? Because you're flopping around. Where are my keys? I gotta go. I'm gonna be late. And as long as you're flopping around, right, you're not breathing properly. You're stressed because you're gonna be late for your appointment or whatever. And so oxygen, blood, lymph leaves our brain because we're going into fight, flight, or freeze. We don't need our brain when we're stressed. We just need to get out of that situation so we can get into parasympathetic, right? So that we can get into healing mode.
Yeah.
Right? We can only heal when we're in parasympathetic. When we're stressed, we're not healing at all. We're just coping. And so laughter, so what happens? So here's what you can do next time you lose something and you're flopping around. Just stop, take a deep breath, and then laugh it off. Apologize to everybody that you just, shouted at. I'm speaking for myself, by the way. I don't know if this is your way. and then, all of a sudden, your phone, glasses, keys, whatever you were looking for, will appear. Every time.
You know what? I think you're right. I have found over the last little while, through COVID actually, because I've had so much time to pay attention to these sorts of things, that I've just been wound up looking for something, can't find it, stressed out, on and on and on, looking in this clothes basket, looking on that shelf, tearing down a whole shelf of stuff to find one little thing that I don't find. And then I've been finding that if I just take a deep breath and say, okay, universe, show me where it is, and I'm calm, all of a sudden there it is. Like magic.
There it is.
There it is, like magic.
In this pandemic, really, I'm sure that people have moments daily where they have those panic situations. Probably less now, but, at the beginning, we didn't know what the heck was happening. Like, going to the grocery store was weird. It's still weird, but it's, more normal now. Right? So we just have those moments, and as long as we're, like, stressing about it, it's going to be more challenging for it to find its way to us. So we need to, is it Elsa in Frozen, would just say, let it go. Just like, literally let it go. This morning I was preparing for my laughter club, and I wrote a note about the 5 elements. So I wrote the 5 elements so I knew which ones I had done in the past 3 weeks. And I had my little note. 5 minutes later, you think I could find it just before I'm going into I'm like, I wrote that note. I just wrote it. Where is it?
Yeah.
And I looked everywhere where it had just been. I'm like, well, I know that it didn't just vanish. So I had to just let it go. I literally had to be like, if I don't have it, I just don't have it. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to a laughter club. I guess I'll just laugh. So it really is, the benefits of laughing. We know it's a great connector. We feel better. We sleep better. When we laugh, we change our state. When we're stressed again, or we're depressed, or we're anxious, any of those kind of lower vibration things, or even we're just tired. If we're just tired, we need to just get up. It's because our body doesn't have enough oxygen. We just need to, and we all know, like when someone says, hey, you want to, after dinner, hey, you want to go for a walk around the block? Nah, like I'm comfortable now, right? The stuff is setting in, and you're like, I'm just sleepy now. I just feel like just resting for a bit. That's when you should go for a walk. And we all know, whenever we do go for that walk, we're like, I'm so glad I came. I didn't really want to, but now I'm glad I came. Or an invitation to a party before COVID. You might be like, no, I don't really feel like going. I'm busy. I'm tired. But when you go, you're like, it's so great to connect with people and socialize. And then you met a new person maybe, or you heard a story that you didn't hear before. How wonderful. You don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about children versus adults and the way that, I mean, I've, since talking to you yesterday, found out that it's actually a myth when they say children laugh 300 to 400 times a day and adults laugh only 17. The adults laugh only 17 is actually true, but kids, in fact, laugh every 1 to 2 minutes for the 12 hours that they are awake during the day.
Isn't that fun?
Isn't that insane?
It's so beautiful. Like, I think that is the magic potion, because when we see children, they're just laughing. They're just having fun. Because they don't have the stress of the world. As we start to age, it's like we lose our laugh. The hardest laughter gigs that I've had, like paid gigs that I've had, are with teenage girls.
Yes.
Like with Big Sisters and Girls Inc. And I didn't know why until I was in it. They said, could you come and do a laughter thing for our after school program? Absolutely, I would love that. So I went, and they weren't laughing. I was all in my head. How come they're not laughing? Am I doing something wrong? What's going on? Because that's what we do, right? We get in our head.
Yeah, sure.
But for laughter, you have to get out of your head and into your body. That's how it works. Because our brain might be like, so what I did with the young girls, because you don't want to look ridiculous, right? You're a teen, you're just coming into yourself. You don't want to look ridiculous, and you don't look super attractive when you're laughing.
No.
Right? You're like, ha, ha, ha. Maybe your tongue's out, maybe you snort a bit. Who knows, right? Like, weird things happen, maybe. So I was like, oh my gosh, okay. So what I did was put on a song, a dance song, like Girls Want to Have Fun or some high energy song. Oh, boom. Now all of a sudden they're up and shaking their booty good. That's all I needed was to get them moving, and then now I got them. Because now they're having fun together.
Right.
And so now laughing after is easier.
And they were able to laugh?
And they were able to laugh, yes. It was just right at the beginning, I tried to do what I do with the adults, the ho-ho, ha-ha. Because you start by warming up, and the children don't need that. And the teens are just another kind of demographic that is more challenging because, again, they're trying to find their individuality. They're trying to, make their way in the world. Who am I? Like, everyone's telling me who I should be, but who am I really? There's a lot of stress at that time. Because you don't know stuff, but you think you know everything.
Isn't that the truth? Having had 4 kids myself, I know the teenage years pretty well. But the thing is, they're also very self-conscious, which is something that we'll talk about a little later. I think before we go any further, let's just assume that many of our listeners have never done laughing yoga before. Let's walk them through your half-hour program. Tell me how it starts and what the beginning, the middle, and the end look like, so that if someone is thinking that, oh, this sounds kind of cool, I'm going to check this out, but they're a little intimidated because they don't know what to expect. So we'll start right from the beginning of class. How do you start the class?
Thank you. Oh, that's a great idea. Thank you. Yes, everybody welcome. And what I do offer is for people to allow themselves permission, like just allow yourself to attend the class first of all. Come and check it out. And online on Zoom is so beautiful because if you really are uncomfortable, you can have your camera off, or you could just like Zoom right out, like just leave the meeting. Right? Like you don't have to ask permission. You just come and go as you please. So no pressure. But it starts, it's very welcoming. I generally get about 20 people in my Zoom club. Some are regulars, some come just once and they never come again. And, it's a whole mix of people, men, women, older, younger, like it's a whole mixed bag of people. And it's self-care. And once you come, you really do enjoy it when you give yourself permission. So I welcome the group. I welcome everybody by name, and then we just do some gentle warming up. Maybe rolling shoulders, gentle, because laughter yoga is a cardiovascular workout. 10 to 15 minutes of sustained belly laughter is equivalent to about 300 sit-ups, or wow, I know. I always have to forget. I have to remember to pause after that.
Wow, no, that's crazy. Wow, I'm going to laugh all the time.
I have rock hard abs. Next time we're in person, I'm going to let you touch my abs. And I do ride my bike, but otherwise laughter yoga is what I do. Laughter. Because it's a deep diaphragmatic breathing. And our diaphragm is connected to all of our organs. So when we're laughing, we don't have to think about 205, 206 sit-ups.
You're right,
Ding
because
dong.
how many times have you been to a party where you have been around some funny people and you laugh so hard? Or in my family, it was crazy. After every big celebratory meal like Christmas or Thanksgiving, the women would do the dishes and the men would sit on the couch and sleep. And we'd be in the kitchen and we would honestly laugh for the whole time we were in there. 2 hours straight of laughing. And the next day, my sister and I used to always comment on how our stomachs hurt, our muscles hurt from laughing so hard for so long. It was great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It's such a great release. Okay, so we just do gentle warm-up, some deep breathing, clapping, and so there's kind of a mantra, and it's just to help people, and it really is to help the people that are uncomfortable. Because when we clap, then we're not in our head. If we're just saying, oh, just say ho-ho and ha-ha, that might be awkward, because there's no jokes or comedy. It's not about, you don't have to understand anything. You could even speak any language or no language. Laughter is universal. Mm-hmm. So when we clap palm to palm, and that serves the purpose of activating the meridians, like acupuncture without needles. So you're clapping if you just need more energy. I always clap like that, like clapping like a seal. As if seals clap. Okay, and so that's just for our benefit. So we say ho, ho, ha, ha, ha while we're clapping. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. And that really does help people, because then you've got something to focus on. You're not thinking, you're not just looking at people, you actually can focus on your hands. And then that allows you to get into your body. So for the people listening that might be thinking, oh, that's too weird, I invite you, please come. The brain is the thinker. So the brain might be thinking, this is weird, this is so strange, and your ego is not your friend, right? Your ego is trying to keep you safe and not look ridiculous. So just ask your voice in your head that's not your friend to say, thank you for stopping by, just be quiet for a bit, just join in. And the body is the feeler. So the brain's the thinker, the body's the feeler, so the body doesn't know the difference between real and imagined laughter. So even if you don't feel like laughing, if you laugh, your body's going to go, and you're going to start secreting the love drugs. Yep, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Right? So, and we're in charge versus when we're stressed and we're secreting cortisol. We get to decide. Okay, so then we're clapping and chanting, we're breathing deep, and then there's games. There's about 40 foundational exercises. Now it's 26th anniversary. It's a global movement, so it's all about imagination, creativity, and just play. So you can only imagine 40 foundational exercises. So when you become a laughter yoga teacher or leader, then that's what you learn. That's your base. You can start with those exercises. Always work. They're fine. As you go along, then you get to incorporate your own. You can come up with your own things. Right now that we're on Zoom, laughter clubs were always in person. They were always in person. But with COVID, there was no more in person. But we still needed to laugh because laughers laugh every day. It's part of our health plan.
Right.
Right? So then Zoom came along or whatever. I wish I had shares before COVID. Okay, so Zoom, it was here before, but now it's really here. And so there are laughter clubs. You can laugh any time of the day on Zoom around the world, which is very, it's a beautiful thing. You can tune into any of those clubs. And on Sunday, there was, on August 8th, there was a global laughter event called Ho Ho Olympics. And it was so beautiful. Brenda, 8 hours. I tuned in for 7. I had to go the last hour, but I tuned in for 7 hours. I slept really well. I felt like I'd been at the Olympics.
Wow.
so we traveled around the world. We started in the East because it was set up, it was organized by a gentleman in Belgium, so the time was 1 to 9 European time, which is 7 to 3 our time, right? So really late Australian time. Yeah, so we had people from all over Thailand, like all over the world, bringing their different exercises, like different breathing exercises, different laughing games, and I took a ton of notes because I was like, that's so clever. And so what happened? So then we're laughing, we're playing games, breathing, and then we end. My half hour, my online one is about half an hour, and it's really enough. That really is enough time to be online doing a laughter club. And at the end, the last 5 minutes or so is a laughter meditation. So again, if anyone's listening thinking, oh, meditation, no, that doesn't work. So there are a couple of types of meditation. There's dynamic and there's still meditation. Still is when you're sitting quiet, asking your thoughts to stop, or to, like, thanking them and, wishing them well and get out of my head. Right? And it's hard. And so many people struggle with that type of meditation until you master it.
I always fall asleep. I'm a meditation failure.
I would say that's a win. If you fall asleep, that means you're pretty relaxed. Right? But the dynamic meditation is a moving. Sometimes it's dance or, just a walking meditation. What laughter meditation is, we're seated and we've all been connected, and now we laugh. And so we laugh. We try to laugh at least for 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes. We don't know. Like, sometimes it goes on 5 minutes, which, people listening are like, oh my gosh, laughing for 5 minutes. Laughing for 30 seconds. I would challenge the listeners to time themselves and laugh for 30 seconds full on. It's not easy.
No, it's not.
I'm a trained professional.
30 seconds is a long time.
Yeah. And so that's how we end, and I end with a little prayer of, inviting people, because you really do feel floaty after you've laughed full on for a minute or two. And then, we're just inviting people to send that beautiful energy to anyone they know that could use it, right? It's medicine. Mm-hmm. It's energy. And then take some for yourself. And then Dr. Kateria, he started laughter yoga, and his goal, his mission is world peace. World peace through laughing. Wow. Like, I want on that bandwagon. Oh, I'm on it. I'm in it. Right, imagine all of us laughing, and I would love, so that's kind of how it goes. And people play as full on as they like, or not. Like, you don't, I thought you needed to laugh full on. You really do not. Just being in the energy, you get the benefits. If you add a little smile, you get a few more benefits. Add a little giggle, a few more benefits. And if people are somewhere and someone's sleeping or they need to be quiet, you could do silent laughter. And it's way harder than laughing out loud. It sounds easy.
Complicated.
Yeah, but you're just laughing. But you're like doing the motion. It's like you're holding your breath and laughing. So you're exercising and not breathing. So and then you have to breathe. Then you have to be like,
right.
You have to burst out. It's so beautiful. It really is a wonderful thing, and I would really invite people to come and check it out, either my club or any club. And different yoga, just like any modality, like any teacher brings their different gifts. So not everybody for everybody. My morning sessions are pretty high energy because I want to set people up for the day. Like, here you go, here's some wonderful high vibe laughter medicine. Go have a great day. You don't want to do my session before you have to go to sleep, because I think it's too you get too much adrenaline.
Yeah, you need to have just a light giggle or something before bed.
Yes, I do evening sessions as well, and my evening sessions are super duper powerful because we laugh, we do a lot of breathing, but then I give. What I was going to say about the different teachers is they bring different different techniques. So over the
Different
years,
techniques to the table. Actually, I'm going to stop you right there. We're going to take our first break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about exactly bringing different things to the table and the different styles of laughter, maybe.
Sounds good. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, we're going to take a little break and we'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. You're listening to Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Bren Masson. Remember, if you'd like to hear this show again, you can go to Freshwaves.ca, or you can check out our YouTube channel at Freshwaves Radio. Capital F, capital R for radio. Now let's get back to the show. Well, thanks for joining us this morning, everyone. We are speaking with Cathy Nesbitt about laughter yoga. And I can tell you that I've learned a few tips already since the show's been going on. And I'm open to learning a whole bunch more. So let's talk now about different modalities and the different teachings like we were just finishing up before the break.
Yeah, beautiful. So people bring different things. Over the years, I've accumulated a bunch of techniques sort of for myself, just for self-healing, self-care. And so I incorporate tapping, emotional freedom technique, EFT, and I've been tapping since 1999. I am so happy that it's becoming mainstream. Tapping is such a simple thing that people can do to, take away fear, remove negative thoughts, pain, addictions. I mean, you'd have to do several rounds. So I bring in tapping just on a few different spots, not the whole round of tapping, but, tapping on some key points in our body to help the energy flow and our lymph flow. I bring brain gym and different modalities. So, and I really do believe that laughter yoga goes with everything. It goes with everything. And if somebody has a chore that they don't like doing, like, I don't know, say vacuuming or pulling weeds or whatever it is.
Or all of the above?
All of the above, right? Any housekeeping chores, anything, any gardening, whatever it is that you don't like to do, but you got to do it. Hire someone. No. Done. Add laughter. I'm not kidding. When you're vacuuming and you're like, oh, I got to vacuum. Oh, it's time to do my laughter. Boom, ha 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 ha. And then all of a sudden it's a fun chore. You're like, oh, I can't wait to vacuum again. Maybe not, but you know what I mean? And I want to give people a hack for when you're driving and if somebody cuts you off. I trained myself that when somebody cuts me off, it's never personal. I mean, we take it personal, like, and we might get mad. Instead of getting mad, I actually never got mad, by the way, but for those that do, I prime myself that when somebody cuts me off, then I'm like, oh, time to do my laughter yoga. I flail I'm paying attention while I'm driving. One hand on the steering wheel, the other one flailing around like, ah ha ha, I got my tongue out, ah ha ha ha. I'm laughing full on, ah ha 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 ha. And the person that cut me off, they're looking in their rearview mirror and they give me extra space because they think I'm cuckoo. So I arrive fully oxygenated, relaxed to my destination, and yep, they're secreting cortisol. They're like, ooh, yeah, I'm not going to cut that one off again.
Wow.
Right? It's so beautiful. Anytime that you're feeling stressed, you can start laughing and change the state. And, I didn't do it today in my club, but often I offer tips on how to reduce your stress like in an instant, and I can explain it on while we're talking here. What you do if you're stressed, we talked about everything leaving your brain. Mm-hmm. Rub your hands together because they're the conductors. Shake them off, and then put one hand on your palm, and then just take deep breaths. So we've got neurovasculars in our forehead. So by placing our hand over our complete forehead, we're for sure hitting the neurovasculars. And then we take a nice deep breath in, and then we release, and we can do 2 or 3 of those, and then we're ready to take on the conversation. Or, especially today with social media, we get triggered very quickly. It's all about emotion. logic doesn't come into play when you're looking at those posts that trigger you, that you're like, oh, how could they think that, or how could they say that, and then you start to type a response. My suggestion is wait, take a deep breath, rub your hands together, shake them off, put one on your forehead, take 2 or 3 nice slow deep breaths in and out, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, I don't care about that. Nothing to be done.
Yeah, or at least it will calm you down to think of a response that's not as knee-jerk and may get you
That's not as
sued.
emotional. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I've done an exercise before that I find really helpful, which is the rubbing of the hands together till you get that nice friction going between your hands, and then put the palms over your eyes. And it just gives that beautiful energy into your eyes midway through the afternoon when you're feeling a little sleepy or that you're feeling a lack of energy. It's sort of like giving yourself back some energy. And I found that same sort of thing this morning when I was in your laughing class. I found that, I was having a slow morning. I must admit, I haven't been sleeping well. My son was in an accident a few weeks ago, and he was hit by a tornado. And I've had some restless mom sleeps over his condition and him getting well. And I was tired this morning. And when I went and did your class, I felt like I could have gone outside and run a marathon.
Beautiful.
Like I really felt good, but it wasn't that agitated, too much caffeine kind of rush. It was a whole body, energized, just felt like I could get on with the day. And I'm so happy that you suggested yesterday that before doing this interview that I should attend one of your classes. I'm amazed by it. I really am.
Thank you. It's so beautiful. I love when people come and experience it, and then we talk about it, because it's just it's a whole different ball game. You don't have to imagine, oh, so here we do this, and you can imagine how oxygenated we are. Now you're like, wow, yeah. And I would invite you to notice how you feel for the rest of the day. Like you've just oxygenated your whole body, trillions of cells now having a party.
Yeah.
bumping into each other. Whoopee, woo, woo, woo.
Well, there has to be something to it in the sense that, if you just think about it, going to, in the summertime, have a barbecue with some friends, and you spend the night laughing and talking and laughing again and communicating and just being a part of something, but with laughter involved, you always feel so good.
Yeah, it changes everything. Laughter changes everything, and it brings us to the present. We're just right here. We can't be thinking about yesterday or tomorrow or all the things that didn't get done or that need, or that we did wrong or whatever. We're just right here, right now, for this moment, and that's all we need for right now.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. The couple that was in my club, they come every week. And they're a beautiful couple, and I think it's really helping. They've messaged me and said that it's helping their couple. Like they just are getting closer, and when things are stressful, then they can do. I gave them the blowing out the venom. Where you swing your hands over your head and you blow it out into the earth.
Just explain that a bit more.
Okay. I know it's radio, right?
Yeah.
So what you do, so I do invite people to stand, but this also works sitting. You just have to make sure you don't have, bang your hands somewhere. But you put your hands straight out. Think about
straight out in front of you?
Sorry, yes, thank you.
To the sides or in front of you? Okay.
With your palms, straight out in front with your palms open. And you think about something that's causing you stress or anger. And that you don't have to say it. You just close your hands, breathe in, and then swing your arms around your back over your head. And then you just quickly bring your hands down and then blow it, and then open your hands at the bottom and kind of get that anger or stress right into the earth. And then you just do that a couple of times, and it really does help to quell the anger.
And the earth is a beautiful filtration system. If you think of the water that comes out of the aquifers, that water has been filtered and strained through sand and silt and clay and rock and becomes the best water on earth. And that takes thousands of years. So the earth has this beautiful filtration and cleansing ability. So when we give the negative energy to the earth, we aren't poisoning it or hurting it in any way. We're offering it to the earth for cleansing.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, it's a lovely thing.
Mm.
Well, I'm so happy that I sort of discovered you by accident. I know you from the sprouting lady. You're the lady that just sprouts everything.
Want to hear my working title?
Yes.
My working title is Cathy Crawley, Laughing Bean Queen. Worms for
Laughing.
amending the soil, sprouts for eating, and laughter for overall health and wellness.
Isn't that something?
Can I talk about my event at Sharon Temple?
Absolutely.
So I have this amazing event coming up at Sharon Temple. And oh my gosh, if people haven't been to the Sharon Temple, please come to my event. And then you get to check out the event, the beautiful Sharon Temple, and experience laughter, maybe both for the first time. How fun. So it's a fundraiser for the temple, and it is taking place on September 15th, 7 to 8:30. And yeah, it's going to be an amazing, fabulous, fun, high vibe. Imagine like that temple was built by the Children of Peace in the 1800s. Imagine. And this, we're laughing for world peace. I get goosebumps when I think about the honor and the privilege for me to be the one selected to do laughter yoga at that incredible temple.
Yeah, that's going to be fantastic. When is the date again?
It's September 15th from 7 to 8:30. It's $25 per person or $40 for a couple, like two. Yeah.
So tell us how people get in touch with you if they would like to explore laughing yoga a bit more.
So I do have a wonderful laughter page. It's a work in progress, so bear with me. It's cathysclub.com. It's CATHYSCLUB.com. And all the information is there about how to attend. I don't think I mentioned my Tuesday club. Every Tuesday at 9:30 on Zoom, half an hour, free laughter yoga. Come and check it out. Just be mindful that it may become your new addiction. Like you might be like, oh my gosh, I love this so much, I'm going to attend every week. You're welcome. You can. There's room in the Zoom room. We just get smaller.
That's true. I did attend this morning, so I will attest to the fact that it's a lovely way to start the day.
Thank you.
Very nice. Okay, so I have a couple of questions for you. First of all, smiling versus laughing. I mean, I've always been told, my mother started teaching yoga long before yoga was so popular, and she's in her early 90s, and she actually taught till she was 86, and then she decided that it was time that someone else taught instead of her. But she would always practice the yoga smile. So I've learned and know about the yoga smile, and there are times when I am having a really miserable day and I will look in the mirror and say, oh my gosh, who's that? And of course it's me, but I'm so gnarled that I can't even recognize myself. And just the act of turning up the corners of your mouth, the sides of your mouth, it's unbelievable what it does for you. So what is the difference between just smiling and laughing?
So I guess it's the dose. As you were talking, I was like, yeah, what is the difference? So you do get, right, as soon as you smile, you start secreting the love drugs. And you send a note to the brain, hey, I must be happy. And then you add a giggle, you start secreting a little bit more. You giggle a little more, pew, 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 more, bigger, more dose. That, yeah, I think that, and more oxygen, right? So it's just smiling, you're going to feel better. And we know, like even just smiling at someone on the street, or if someone smiles at you, you smile back. even if you're having a bad day, you generally will smile back unless you're really in that dark mood.
That's true, isn't it? It really is infectious. And it makes people treat you differently, I think.
I think so too. They've done research about pictures. I guess this would go for like dating sites and stuff. Different. I don't know if that's where they did the research, but they had pictures of people. Some smiling, some angry, and they just had people classify those faces. Like, is that person approachable? What do you think about this person? And always the smiling faces were the ones that got the positive feedback. I mean, I know that's obvious. That kind of makes sense, right? But,
yeah.
So we need to look at ourselves. Like, what is your resting face? My resting face is smiling. I want people to think, what is she up to? Why is she always smiling?
She says, and then she bursts out laughing.
I'll tell you a story, Brenda. I do ride my bike around Bradford, and I do a song that I do sometimes in my club that I did today, the Holo song that I came up with. So fun. And that's actually a row, row, row your boat kind of song. I don't know what you call those songs. Where they start in a group. Around, yeah. So that's going to be a round song. I haven't tested it out in person yet, but that's how that's going to go. It's going to be. I'm not sure how it will go, but so I ride my bike around Bradford laughing, and one day there was a gentleman, an older gentleman with his granddaughter at a little river. So I stopped, got off my bike, and I was talking to them, but he was kind of hesitant. I could feel him. I'm an empath, so I feel everything. So I could feel that he was uncomfortable with me there, and I was like, oh, something's happening. So I got on my bike, I bid them adieu, and I got on my way. I saw him a couple days later. I was standing on that bridge, and he walked along. He was by himself, and he came up to me. We started chatting, and he said, when people are laughing by themselves, people think there's something wrong with them. And I started laughing. I said, oh, yes, ha, 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 I know, ha, ha, ha. And then, we had a nice chat. I got on my way. I got home. And then I burst out laughing. I was like, oh, he's talking about me. I didn't know that he was talking about me. I thought we were just having a conversation. Then I was like, oh, he was saying I was afraid of you when I had my granddaughter.
Right.
But now I see, oh, I'm talking to you now. You're fine. I think that's the message, because I was like, well,
Isn't that something?
Isn't that funny? Like, I was like, oh, but I didn't realize that he was talking about me, because I was like, I know that there's nothing wrong with me. Like,
and again, if you were a child, if you were 8 years old, and someone came across you laughing on your own in the forest or in a field or on a bridge by a river, they would assume that you had seen something funny, like a frog, I don't know, doing something that just made you laugh or something like that. Yet as an adult, people don't give you that benefit of the doubt. They think you must be stark raving mad.
Right? Why is it that we can walk into a room in a really horrible state, like really not angry, but maybe sad or depressed, and that seems fine. But if we're laughing, then it's like, oh, what are they up to? What's wrong with them? Why are they?
Yeah. Well, I will tell you a funny story. My sister, one of her things is that when she gets nervous, she laughs. And we were at a funeral. It was very sad. The poor fellow had died very suddenly of a heart attack. So everyone's crying and upset. And we were downstairs using the bathroom, but there was a circular staircase in this funeral home so that you could, from the bottom floor, everyone at the top floor could hear and kind of see. And I left the bathroom and I pushed the door really hard because I thought it was one of those hydraulic doors. It wasn't, and it sprung back and hit me in the face.
Oh, no.
And the two of us just burst into hysteria. So there's somber music playing, everybody's sad, and the two of us are in hysterics. And because we were so tense, we couldn't stop laughing. And we had to close the door and go back into the bathroom where we were just on the floor laughing our guts out. And I said to her, we can't go back upstairs. We just can't walk into that setting laughing like this. So we stood up and got ourselves back together and The second we opened the door, she looked at me. I looked at her. We burst out laughing again and had to go back into the bathroom. It took us 10 minutes to get out of the bathroom. And when we got upstairs, the angry looks that we got from our parents and other people who just thought we were just so disrespectful. Yeah. And it wasn't that.
No.
It wasn't that at all. But I can tell you that I felt so much better after laughing because we were holding in so much.
Well, that's it. You just said it. It's like that, the, what do they call it, those pressure cooker pots that have the little tiny, the little steamy thing?
Yeah.
It's like the pressure cooker that, it'll blow, or the volcano, right? Like, so it is a big release. You just said it. It's a wonderful release, and and that's why, at a funeral where it's like you're stressed and you're uncomfortable and everybody's crying and it's sad, it's heavy. So if it, I think that happens quite often, that people break out laughing at a funeral.
Well, at the wake especially, it usually ends up being one of the best parties you've been to all year. And I think there's no greater send-off to a human being who has been on this earth and contributed wonderfully and lived a good life, is to send them off with the laughter that they so loved while they were here. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
Absolutely. Sharing stories about them, raising, like it's almost like sending them on their way with that high vibrations. If you send people, if you're worried about someone, you're actually sending them worry energy. Send them love and light.
It's poison. You're sending them poison. You have to send them good energy.
Yeah, like your son, instead of being worried, of course you're worried, but if you can send love and healing energy, that's going to be way more beneficial.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. And
like
when
people are like, I'm worried about this and that, it's like, don't worry, because you're not helping.
Yeah.
You're not helping.
When people say to me, well, what if this and what if that? And I said, I can't live in the what ifs. And I'm not going to send that energy to me or to him. It's only he's healing, he's young, and he will be fine. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Now, if people are having a hard time allowing themselves to laugh, vanity always seems to hit people hard. They can relate to vanity. Is it not true that when you laugh, you're actually toning the muscles of your face?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Oh my gosh, for sure. Because you're again, back to laughing, and you have those, your cheeks are hurting. Those are the laughter muscles.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so if people are saying, well, I don't want to go stand around with a bunch of people laughing, what's that going to do? Well, it de-stresses you, and it gives you a facelift.
It just makes us more resilient. We're able to deal with stressful situations easier, connect better, get out of anger faster. Because all of these things are just emotions. Like, they're things we're meant to feel, and that's okay. It just depends on how long you want to stay in that energy.
Yeah.
We get to decide when we move. And you don't always want to laugh. That's true. But just know that gift is there for you if you choose to employ it.
Yeah. I just think it's a beautiful thing. And the fact that while you're doing it, you're toning the muscles of your face, raising those cheeks up a little bit, getting rid of that jowl at the bottom there, and just, loosening up your face and allowing it to have blood flow, which is so good for our skin and our, the people who have the twinkly laughing eyes. Aren't they so endearing?
Yes, that's right. Right. It moistens your eyes. Exactly. So many things.
Yeah.
There are also, we're talking kind of about the mainstream people. Before COVID, I was going into long-term care, working with folks with dementia, and how fun, right? It's not jokes or comedy. It's like music. Once we laugh, we remember.
Yes.
And now online, I'm working with Alzheimer's. And before COVID, it was kind of local. People could come locally. Online has allowed it to be open to more people. Like, people from across Canada come now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also doing work with a group called, it's a fan club. It's Full Access Network. And it's a group of folks that have developmental disabilities. We're located in Newmarket, and it's so beautiful. Brenda, my goodness, this is just a wonderful gift. Again, it's just a wonderful way to connect. So we were doing it online, and now for the last 3 weeks, we've been meeting every Friday since May. So
Wow.
we're in our 4th month, and every week we meet. I had a dream. One day I was walking through the forest, and I had a vision that I was training folks with special needs to do laughter yoga, so that to train them how to be teachers or leaders, so that they could lead their demographic
Nice.
in laughter. And I don't know. I was like, oh my gosh, universe, that sounds like a big mission on top of what I'm already doing. And when you decide that you're going to do something, and I'm pretty powerful, I was like pretty moved by that vision. And now, since then, I connected with the founder of the fan club. He was all in. He just wants to help those people. These are all folks that are out of high school now, and so they're, I don't know if it's Ontario or Canada, but after they get kicked out of school at 21, they're on ODSP, and away you go. So his goal is to help them live more independent lives and joyful lives, and that's what I want to do as well. And so we have this wonderful partnership, and if anyone's listening and knows about funding or anything, we would love to do a pilot project about how it's helping the folks in the fan club.
Well, you know what? I think that sounds like seed for another show.
I would love it. Yes, that would be wonderful.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you so much for talking with us today, Cathy. I've really appreciated your input and your knowledge and, your inspiration. It's been a fun morning. And I must say that because I started it with laughter yoga and then followed it with this interview, I'm just having a great day. And I would like to thank you for that.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and I appreciate the opportunity to be on Fresh Waves so much. Thank you.
Well, this has been Fresh Waves. I'm your host, Bren Masson. We've been talking with Cathy Nesbitt. If you'd like to get a hold of Cathy, you can go to her website and get all the information that you need. Cathy, what's the website again?
Is cathysclub.com.
Perfect. Thanks again, Cathy, and thanks for tuning in today, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and make sure you do some good, hearty laughing.